Hello there, this is Dr. Adidayo Alugo from St. John Cap. St. John Cap is where I empower youth mental health through the education of parents, youth, and caregivers. I also empower youth mental health by providing support to parents who care for a child with a chronic mental health condition or even a chronic physical health condition. I do this using the Walking on Eggshells with Dr. Tolu podcast. I provide emotional health promotion information to youth using the Emotions Ambassador program. You can find me on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, and on my blog on www.stjohncap.com. So you have no excuse for not getting enough information. There's so many avenues to do so. So today I'm going to be discussing an important topic that parents commonly ask. They ask me, what if I have ADHD too? So are you a parent who has kind of noticed a few things in your child or your child has had a recent diagnosis that's kind of triggers some memories of your childhood? Or are you seeing symptoms in yourself? So very quickly, I'll go through some symptoms of ADHD and how they may present in an adult, and then answer some of the questions that have been posed to me. So an adult may find that they're very fidgety. They just can't sit still. They're constantly tapping or moving their leg around. If you sit in a church pew or at a meeting with an adult with ADHD, the person beside you may be constantly vibrating and moving, and it can be quite disconcerting. You may find that you're inattentive, which means you're very forgetful, constantly losing things, missing deadlines, forgetting, quite disorganized, unable to stay on task, having a few things on the go at the same time and not finishing any of them. Or you may be your friends or family may say, or when they're having a conversation with you, you're zoning out, you're losing your train of thoughts, or you're forgetting what you were talking about. Another one may be impulsivity. You may blurt out remarks or comments without thinking of the consequences or how it may make the other person feel. You may spend more than you plan to spend. You may, be quite impulsive in your driving where you're cutting across people in traffic or speeding or going beyond the speed limit. You may find yourself even trying substances, sometimes as like a thrill seeking, or maybe in a setting where other people are using substances, or even making mistakes in relationships. Inattention may mean you may forget to pick up your children from activities, daycare, and so on. You can imagine that this will cause a lot of strain on family life, on work life, and can really be challenging. So if you're an adult and you're kind of noticing these things in yourself and it's impacting your functioning within your family, affecting your relationship with your spouse or your children, or affecting your job, don't despair. Seek help. Seek help from your family physician, from a healthcare provider to get an assessment done. A healthcare provider would, take a detailed history of what things have been like for you from your childhood, what they're currently like now. If this is a new change, if it's a new change, it's unlikely to be ADHD. It may be because there's some life change that's happened, the change in your workplace, some other issues may be at stake. But if it's a long-standing thing, then walk backwards into your childhood, middle school, high school years, and really, try and curate the information, and then based on the assessment, make recommendations. And the recommendations may mean asking you to begin to do things like manage your hyperactivity by using a fidget tool or putting something on your lap, or paper mate on your desk to stop yourself being so fidgety. Inattention, you may like using a paper mate again, using reminders, alarms, lists, checklists, asking people to remind you of things and not getting angry when they do so. Also, managing your impulsivity, things like if you're going to go shopping, you end up overspending, maybe leaving your credit card at home and just taking a shopping list and some cash, or doing your groceries online with somebody beside you, making sure you stay within the budget and the planned shopping list. Also, if you were to attend a meeting, some people would say they would jot down the thoughts that come to their mind to avoid blotting them out and then wait for the right time in the meeting to express these thoughts. So those are some of the few tips that would help you in managing your hyperactivity, impulsivity, or inattention. And of course, if this really begins to impact family life or your work life, it may be a need. There may be a need for you to look at medication, but definitely talk to your healthcare provider about that. So the other part of today's talk is for those parents who say, "I have ADHD. How is this impacting my child?" And they feel just so guilty, so burdened by the fact that their symptoms may be affecting their child. Number one, I have to say to you, it is not your fault that you have ADHD. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder is a neurodevelopmental disorder, which means, in the basic layman terms, it's a dysfunction in the brain wiring. So it's something that you were born with, you didn't choose it, you may also have inherited it, and it's not your fault. Number two, research shows that what a child needs is a good enough parent. So you don't have to be a perfect parent for your child to turn out well. So really, I know that you're doing your best. So the most important thing is for you to keep doing your best. Get help early, accept the help that's available to you, but realize the fact that being a good enough parent is all your child needs. So, if you've watched my series on parenting a child with a chronic health condition, I go through a couple of steps, and those steps are relevant here today. So, if you go back to my YouTube channel, you find that in an earlier episode, or if you go back to the podcast, if you're listening to the podcast, earlier episodes have that as well. So, the first thing is to acknowledge your emotions about this diagnosis in yourself or these symptoms in yourself. I mean, acknowledge the confusion, the worry, the fear, the upset or anger that you may feel. But don't stop with that acknowledgement. Educate yourself on what it means to have ADHD. What are the symptoms? What are the available treatment options? How can you help yourself? So educate, educate, educate. Then you want to look for your own community. There are so many communities of adults with ADHD, parents with ADHD, parents of kids with ADHD. So find your own tribe of people, your support network that can really provide, information as to how to manage and or navigate life with this diagnosis. Um, Ask for help. That can be informal help from your spouse, from family members, from colleagues at work, and when you're offered help, accept help because it can be quite difficult when you're disorganized, difficult to stay on task. You can be quite overwhelmed when you have more than one task at a time. But if you accept help, it may help you be more organized. Somebody can spot that, oh, you've left this out or you've forgotten that, or can kind of be your reminder. Set alarms for yourself and get a reminder to check your alarm. So, ask for help, accept help. Then, and the other one is, practice self-care. So, little things like ensuring you get enough sleep reduces your impulsivity. Um, Watching what you're eating, really eating healthy, exercise, um, taking time for yourself. So life can feel rushed, overwhelmed, stressful when you have the symptoms, and then you also maybe parenting a child who has the symptoms. So it's good to practice self-care, take time for yourself, take time with friends to do what you enjoy. And if it just means, just relaxing, watching TV, going on vacation, going on a walk by yourself, whatever self-care looks like for you, please practice it. And then the last thing is, look around you. If you have ADHD or are parenting a child with ADHD, you might have a spouse or family member who is trying to keep it all together for you, and that can be stressful for them as well. So it's important to remember to bring your spouse along, your partner along, discuss the challenges you're having, kind of find out how they are coping and whether they need to also get some support for themselves as they support you. So those are some of the tips for yourself, when you're thinking, what if I have ADHD too? Get assessed, don't just stay in that realm of what ifs. Get information, get an answer, and then move forward with actually navigating life with ADHD. I've seen professionals, people in managerial positions who are functioning well with support, physicians, people work, working in high level professions who have ADHD and who are living life, optimally, even with this diagnosis. And remember, what your child needs is a good enough parent, and with you educating yourself, finding your tribe, even creating your own tribe, seeking help, accepting help, practicing self care, looking around you, using practical strategies, you can be a good enough parent, or even better than a good enough parent to your child. So, till we meet again, remember to check out St. John Cap, that is SAINTJONCAPP, on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, and also the Walking on Eggshells with Dr. Tolu podcast. Please like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Share the podcast. If you know people that would benefit, please share it with them. And if you're looking for somebody to come talk to your team about youth mental health, to train your teachers, to talk to your work colleagues, or to even empower the youth or educate youth about mental health, please contact me on www.stjohncap.com, and I would love to speak at your event. All right then, take care and have a great day. Bye bye.